Happy New Year and welcome back to the first episode of the 2025 edition of the Purple Rain Podcast. Yes, welcome back to episode 289 of the Purple Rain Podcast, the first episode of 2025. Yes, the Steve Smith episode, the Travis Taylor, the Mark Clayton, and most recently, the Mark Andrews Mandrews snub from the Pro Bowl edition of the Purple Rain Podcast. Thank you all for coming through and spending your Thursday evening with us. Friday Eve. We appreciate you. Hope you had a great New Year, a safe New Year, first and foremost. Thank you all for coming through. We really appreciate it. Final game of the regular season on Saturday, which is kind of sad to say, but we have so much to talk about. Pro Bowl. We have who the Browns are starting. I will report, but first and foremost, you can follow us on Instagram at Purple Rain Podcast. This guy right here on Instagram or on X at Sutton Def. Follow me on Instagram at simplyas10.prod or on X at simplyas10. Most importantly, our sponsor, Manscaped. Go on there, use code PRP for 20% off your whole order and free national shipping. But I must ask you and the chat, how was your New Year's? Do anything fun? Watch the ball drop? Let me know.
Well, New Year's for me was kind of different this year. As you guys know, I moved to Houston recently. I'm in Houston now, so I was actually an hour behind everybody else, all my East Coast friends and family. So everybody was kind of texting me and calling me Happy New Year's an hour early. And me and my girlfriend, we actually just ended up staying in the house, just drank a little bit, enjoyed each other's company. And we ended up hanging out with one of our neighbors, something like that. And it was cool. It was a very chill New Year's, but again, man, glad to be back here on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel for episode 289 of the show, man. We're getting very, very close to 300. I haven't done the math on it yet, but, it's looking like we'll hit 300 right around the Super Bowl, perhaps?
Wouldn't that be
right around there?
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, I'd have to. That would be crazy, right? That'd be crazy. An insane episode. But I'm doing great, though. I'm doing great. And I'm ready to talk about this Week 18 matchup, man, because even though the Ravens are a minus 4,000 favorite, and, everybody's expecting the Ravens to win, including myself, full disclosure, I do have the Ravens winning on Saturday. We got to have this one. We have to have this one. It's for the division, so that's where we're at with it. We're going to talk about it today in the live stream. But before we do that, we have to pull up who's here in the live chat. If you're in the live chat, make sure you sound off in the chat section. We want to bring you up on screen here. We got Lisa Ann in the house says, I can't complain, K-Dog, since Pat Ricard made the Pro Bowl. Yes, he did. And we're going to get into all of the Pro Bowl people, or Pro Bowl players, rather, in a second here. Let me see. We also have Mod K-Dog in the house says, hope everyone had a happy and safe New Year. Yes, sir. Yep. So you guys can see my dog wants to join the stream very, very early today. I guess that's okay. I need you to get down. I need you to go somewhere because you're doing this on purpose. Okay, that's fine. I guess you can just snuggle up right next to me. That's fine. With Team Ramey in the house, what's going on? Team Ramey says, what's the word, everybody? What's going on, Ramey? Appreciate you for coming through. SG in the house. SG, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you for popping out to this episode of the show. Lisa said that was way past her bedtime on New Year's. I understand. It was definitely late. Denise is in the house. What's going on, Denise? David says, hey, Sutton and Alex. What's going on, Denise? Appreciate you for coming through. DDS_Q is in the house. What's going on, brother? Appreciate you for popping out to this episode of the show. Rocking that purple. I see you. Okay. And K-Dog says, smash that damn like button, man. It's free and it helps out a ton. He's totally right about that. I mean, like the video. I know a lot of you guys are probably watching on X, aka Twitter, whatever you want to call it. But listen, if you're on YouTube, make sure you like the video because that does do wonders for us. It really, really does. But okay. And then also one more thing. K-Dog giving a shout out here to the hashtag replay gang. That's right. If you are not watching this episode of the Purple Rain Podcast live, first of all, hello. Thank you for coming through to the stream. And yeah, make sure you leave a comment, question, concern, whatever you got down below in the comment section, because we do get to those as well. All right. So I think we can go ahead and get into some ball talk here, right? So of course the Ravens are getting ready to face off the Cleveland Browns, who they are 0-1 against this season. So this is their second matchup. This is their chance to kind of revive themselves from, dropping that one earlier in the season. And when I say drop, I can only think of Kyle Hamilton's drop from Jameis Winston's late fourth quarter pass. And it's just, how that game could have went. Man, still stings to this day. But the Ravens have a chance to revive themselves in this Week 18 matchup for the division. Gotta have this one, right? It's not going to be one of those, we can just kind of rest the starters, not really show up to play. No, we have to show up to play against this AFC North rival here, and we have to beat them in order to win the division. So that's where we're at with it. But of course, to preview this matchup, we always start off with the I-word report. Who's playing, who's not, who's hurt, who's not right now. Let me go ahead and pull that up on screen for us here. Alex, as you can see, we got it right there. Courtesy of our guy, Kyle Phoenix at Kyle Barber, friend of the show. Always appreciate his work. You guys can see I put a little comment down there. Always appreciate him, man. He's a goat. He's a goat when it comes to coming out with this information. So, Alex, go ahead and take us away with the I-word report. What are you seeing here?
Yeah, so for the Ravens, Justice Hill and Jalen Armour Davis. Jalen Armour Davis kind of a staple of these reports, unfortunately, just can't seem to stay healthy. Justice Hill still has not practiced, but it sounds like it's more because of that illness compared to the concussion, which is a good sign for next week when we play. So we should have him back next week. But yeah, questionable Makari and Kolar, but I'm expecting them both to play. Both were practicing today. As for the freaking Browns, man, look at that. Just look at that freaking. It looks like 2021 Ravens essay. Jerome Ford out. Jordan Hicks out. David Njoku out. Pierre Strong out. Denzel Ward out. And then you have guys like Dalvin Tomlinson, questionable, didn't practice today. Cameron Mitchell pops up on the I-word report today with a knee I-word. So like their secondary decimated, backfield decimated, team decimated. It would be an absolute travesty if the Ravens were to drop this one. And I'm going to leave it at that. The way I'm looking at this, I want us to cover that 18.5, 19.5 point spread. You go in and you just beat the brakes off them because honestly, I mean, I'm happy we're playing starters, but we should have beat them. And the first time we played them, drop picks. Eddie Jackson back there, just selling the game. So this game shouldn't mean anything, but it does. So I want you to, make it known that you wanted to, beat us. Go ahead, enjoy this ass whooping. But with that being said, Ravens healthy, which is huge this time of the year. Yeah, I mean, we just keep the momentum going, and I'm liking it. We'll get Justice Hill back, like I said. And who knows with Armour Davis, he was practicing, but man, good sign right now for the Ravens.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you mentioned with Justice Hill, he is no longer kind of dealing with the remnants of that concussion he suffered a few weeks ago. He just has the concussion label on his I-word report right now because he hasn't practiced yet. And he hasn't practiced because he's been sick. So we don't have to worry about the concussion kind of lingering around. He's just been sick. As of other guys on the team as well, like Ronnie Stanley and Patrick Makari as well. And then also Nnamdi Madubuike, as you guys can see, all dealing with illnesses. Not to say that that's the most favorable I-word that, an NFL football player can have, but it kind of is, like if a guy is sick, he's probably going to sit out a practice or two, maybe three, and then, he'll be ready by game day. So I fully expect, of course, Makari and Stanley to play. Obviously, Justice Hill has been ruled out for this one, which I have no problem with. No problem with. Save Justice Hill for the playoffs, man, because we are going to need him. He is such an underrated, undervalued piece on the Ravens offense, man. Just change the pace back, can do it all, can catch out of the backfield, can run between the tackles, can catch the ball downfield. We've seen that multiple times this season as well. I mean, the guy is just an overall stud, an all-around stud. So rest up, Justice, and be ready for the playoffs because we're definitely going to need you for sure. Other than that, outside of that, I mean, again, going over to the Cleveland Browns side of thing, you hit the nail on the head, man. It's literally an essay, right? In MLA format and everything like that, 3-page, double spaced. It's crazy what they have going on their side of the on the I-word report right now. And of course, they're not, jockeying for a playoff position or anything like that. Their season is a wash. It's over. They really have nothing to play for. They're on the road. I think that's a big reason why the Ravens are, what did you say, 18 and a half, 19 and a half point favorites or something like that, minus 4,000 to win
Yeah.
this game. So it's just, the Ravens should take care of business. They 100% should take care of business. And like you said, again, it would be an absolute travesty if the Ravens found a way to drop this game. I just would not, man. I would not know what to say. It would feel like we're right back to square one all over again if we drop this game to the Browns. I'll just go ahead and say that right now, and I would have not a whole lot of confidence going into the playoffs if we drop Week 18 against the Browns and then we happen to lose the division, and then next thing you know, we're on the road wild card round. That would suck. That would absolutely just, yeah, terrible. But we don't expect that to happen. Again, full disclosure, I think Alex and I both have the Ravens winning this game. But yeah, that is the I word report. But what do you got for me, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I see. My boy Sam says, "Don't forget Justice Hill would dig against the Chargers." That's true. It's looking like we might be playing the Chargers. I expect us to win this, and I do expect. Honestly, I think the Steelers are going to win their games. I feel like it'd be them. They would be playing the Texans, which I think they really is their best matchup. I see Juice saying Hill not sick. I just seen him at the kids' playhouse last Saturday. He looked healthy to me. Yeah, I think he caught whatever was going on this week in the castle with what Matabike has, Makari Stanley. I think maybe Justice Hill got a little bit of that. But yeah, I'm right there with you. Let's hope we can just make this a pretty simple game and have our starters rest the fourth quarter.
And we have Lisa Ann in the house. What's going on? Lisa says, who would you play on Saturday, guys? The Ravens are going to have to come out there and give their full effort. It's just literally with the division on the line, play everyone, until you don't have to, right? I think that there's going to be some real assessments taken at halftime, given, if the Ravens do come out there and they're flying all over the field, on all cylinders, and really just kind of putting this Browns team out of their misery for the 2024-2025 season. If they really demoralize them in the first half, I'm fine with sitting guys all throughout the second half. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that Lamar Jackson, I don't think the likes of Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, like all those guys, pull them. If we're up big by halftime, I say if we're up at least 2 possessions, maybe 3 possessions, I would say, pull those guys, man. I have full confidence in, I want to see Keaton Mitchell. We can do, is Rasheen Ali on this I word report? Let me see. Yes, he is. He's going to play.
Yeah, but
I expect to see some. What's up?
Yeah, he's good.
Oh, he's good. Yeah, he's good. But yeah, I think that we're going to see a lot of those guys, second, third stringers, even on defense as well. Roquan down, Kyle Hamilton. I'm talking second half here again, guys. If we are up by 2 to 3 possessions, I would say. If it's less than 2 possessions, no, we got to keep the starters back out there. And clearly there's something that's going wrong, right? I feel like if we're not up by at least 2 possessions at the half, something catastrophic had to happen, like a couple turnovers, right? We're getting just destroyed with penalties, something like that, because I really don't expect. And here's where, you can see the title in the video. Bailey Zappe is going to start for the Browns, the 4th starting quarterback for the Browns this season. Bailey Zappe is going to start. Don't expect him to really do too much at all. I think that Zach Orr has all the confidence in the world right now in his defense, and they're going to come out there really with their hair on fire, especially guys like Roquan Smith and Kyle Hamilton, who are struggling a little bit earlier in the season. They're going to want to get their get back on the Cleveland Browns. I know Kyle Hamilton for sure. So I expect the defense to really get after this Browns offense. And in terms of the defensive line, I want to see Owe get that 10 sacks. I think that that's going to be a huge thing incentive for Owe. I think if Kyle Van Noy, if he gets another sack, he reaches some sort of incentive, some sort of money incentive as well. So it's just, I think they're going to really try to get after Bailey Zappe early on, kind of demoralize him in that offense and kind of take it from there, man. I think that's the game plan. That's the game plan. So again, full disclosure, I think that the keys to victory, let's go ahead and get into the keys to victory, right? Keys to victory for this one for me is going to be quite simply just make Bailey Zappe uncomfortable early, right? Get him jittery, get him making mistakes. And that's what will really kind of give us a big lead in this one, I think. I think that he throws a first half pick. Maybe there's a first half fumble, strip sack, something like that. I could foresee that happening, and really just kind of like the Ravens taking the momentum from the get go in this game and just never looking back. So again, yeah, I think that's going to be my biggest and my only key to victory is take the momentum early and just don't give them back. Like they need to know, the Browns need to know that, like, yeah, this was on schedule for today. This ass whooping was on schedule, so let's just go ahead and lay down and accept it. You have to establish dominance early in this one, because if you let them feel like they have a chance to play spoiler for our season and to win the AFC North title, they will take you up on that opportunity 10 times out of 10. I don't care how long the I word list is. This is still a football game full of professionals, right? They want to win. We want to win. So establish dominance early is going to be my biggest and my sole key to victory for this one. But Alex, when you look at, everything, the landscape of this game, what is going to be your biggest key to victory for the Ravens to walk out with a W?
Yeah, I mean, that's why they make these division games week 18, because anything, you kind of can throw records at the door, but like the way we're looking, the way they're looking, it's easy to understand why we are heavily favored as we are. But honestly, kind of with you, establish dominance, play hard nosed smash mouth defense, organized chaoses. I'm going to throw it back there to the 2011, those teams. But yeah, I just play pissed off. Play as if you got to win and you're in. This is for a home playoff game, and actually able to catch some of the hard knocks. And to be honest, I love what Tom Monken said about how like he made the playoffs his first year. Part of my language, that shit's not guaranteed. It's really not, and people expect us to make it every year, but anything can go wrong. 2021, we had such a good roster, we could decimate it. Like, you don't know what can happen. Now we went the home playoff game, so play as if it's your final game. Play as if you got to get in there. And they want to spoil it, and I get it. They're the Browns, but I just don't see it happening whatsoever. And I hope it does. I hope it's not even close. Like we have to even be worried. But there are some things in this game I do want to look at, and to me, honestly, I'm with you. Always 10 sacks. Maybe Bateman can get to double-digit touchdowns. That would be huge. If he think he needs 2 more, maybe it's doable.
Yeah.
But just kind of get that morale boosted even higher than it already can. So go out there, get a nice win. Going to the playoffs, red freaking hot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's another big thing too. Like, this is not just a game where we're gonna go into the to the bank and expect the Browns to lay down and just give us the W. We have to establish dominance, but more importantly, I think that we have to sustain momentum. Because the Ravens have a lot of momentum right now, and it would just be absolutely horrible for them to drop this one. And let's just say, the Steelers lose to the Bengals, right? And we still end up winning the division. Let's just say that happens. I still think that our momentum and our confidence will be kind of shot, losing or getting swept by the Browns, rather. Especially after coming off of this, 3-game winning streak that we're on right now. Giants, Steelers, Texans, really just, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, Alex. Like, this 3-game stretch that we just got out of, it was gonna tell us a lot about ourselves. And we've learned a lot about ourselves. So, like, why let all that go to waste right now, week 18, against a wounded, battered, down and out, nothing to play for Cleveland Browns team? Go out there, take care of business. Denise says it here: play smart, protect the football. My guy, Black Daniels, I saw him in the chat. He says, what's going on, Black Daniels, by the way? That's Mod Black Daniels to you. Says, man, ball up top. Let's play Ravens football and nothing less. I mean, yeah, that's literally all it boils down to. That's all it boils down to, right? Right, boy? Yeah, that's right.
And then and Sam brings up a great point here. Never forget 2017 versus the Bengals. Nothing is guaranteed. And me and we're just talking about it. 2022, we went into Cincinnati with Tyler Huntley and a banged up team. I mean, and we gave everything. We were a Sam Hubbard freaking fumble, Tyler Huntley jumping away. Like, that was a game. We were, for the most part, keeping the Bengals in check, and that was with backups. That was with the backup quarterback. That was with Marcus Peters on one leg, covering Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and when they had Tyler Boyd. Like, anything could happen in these divisional games. So you just got to get out there and get to a fast start, and it's prime time. We are a really good team in prime time, and on ESPN. I don't think Lamar on ESPN. His stats are crazy. Only playoff games he's won have been on ESPN. Look at that fact. But I'm liking it. 425, 430 at the Bengals Saturday. Be there or be square. And I want a nice belt to ass to get that first hat and T-shirt. Win the North. Take back what's ours.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, defend
Yeah.
the North. We won
Take
it
over the
last year.
North.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Reigning, defending AFC North champions. But here we are, man. Let's and you said you'll be at the game, right?
Yeah. I mean, dude, tickets for like $50, $60, but it's gonna be cold and I'll be bundled up. So
Hell yeah.
yeah.
Hell yeah. Putting the streak on the line again. About to go 15-0, hopefully, right? 15-0. But that's interesting though. I didn't know that. You just said something very interesting. You said that Lamar Jackson has only won playoff games on ESPN. And that was against the Titans in, what was it, 2022, I want to say, or 2020. I'm sorry. And then there was also the Texans game last year. Yeah, both of those games were on ESPN. You're right. That's interesting. Very interesting fact right there. Also, Sam brings up another good point. Just an interesting point here. Dan Orlovsky is going to be on the commentary team for this game against the Browns, man. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's funny considering, like this backtracking he was doing. And I actually have tried to stay away from the whole MVP conversations, but he's going to, try his best to be unbiased, but we know who he's voting for MVP. So when he goes and sees Lamar put up some crazy numbers, go ahead and keep on trying to defend that. Go and see what happens when he throws a dot to Pro Bowlers, Zay Flowers to you, okay? To guys like Rashad Bateman, who people called a bust, who is having a great season. When he goes out there and just is doing Lamar Jackson things, 4 touchdowns and a half, maybe. Go ahead. Try and tell me that's not the best player in the league. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, because honestly, the goalposts were moved again for Lamar after Josh Allen's performance against the Jets last week. After Josh Allen did what he did against the Jets and didn't play the fourth quarter, people were saying, okay, well, now Josh is back in the lead. So I know Josh Allen isn't going to play this week, but if we're going to treat Josh Allen that way, we have to treat Lamar Jackson the exact same way and keep that same energy in this week 18, kind of what you would call almost like a garbage time matchup, right? So,
yeah.
Hey, I mean, if he goes out there, like you said, 4 first half touchdowns is crazy, but I can see it happening. And so here's my thing about Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is such a gamer. He talks about, he's very like forward facing to the media. He will never come out and admit like, yeah, I'm trying to get that award. I'm trying to go out there and put belt to ass so like y'all can put me back in those graces and those talks again. But in his head, it's just in his DNA to make big plays, right? To make highlight plays. You literally see it every single game. And that's kind of one of my issues with the whole MVP talk. I think I saw Emmanuel Acho say today that, if you look at the tape, right, Josh Allen has been more impressive. And I'm just like, bro, we can go highlight for highlight. Right. We can do that. I promise you, you're not winning that competition. You're just not with Lamar Jackson. I feel like Lamar Jackson has one more opportunity to go out there and really show the world yet again why he is the reigning MVP. So we'll see if that happens there. I want to give a little score prediction. This one is going to be a little bit of a weird score prediction, but I would probably say I'm going to go 34-16 Ravens. 34-16 Ravens. What about you?
I was just taking a gander at just possible odds. I was like, I saw on FanDuel, I'm like, you know what? I like this a lot, and I can see it. 41-10 Ravens. I don't know why. It stood out to me.
Yeah.
I really like that. And I don't know why I like the score, but it just like, I'm like, that might be the one. Like, that might be the one. Like, I can see Rasheen Ali getting his first touchdown. I can see a Charlie Kolar touchdown.
Okay.
It's like,
see, because I was going to ask you, like, what garbage time players do you think are going to score? Because I know we're not putting up 40 in the first half.
Yeah, and like, I can see a stop when the Browns on a 4th down in their territory. Now we have a short field to work with, and Josh Johnson, maybe a dump off pass to Tylan Wallace or Aguilar. Then Rasheen Ali can do the rest. Or you find Kolar in the back. And like, I like that. It's like that. So give me 41-10 Ravens for some reason. So yeah. I mean, Lisa kind of on the same page, 45-10, 41-10.
I like that. I mean, Lisa's always with the blowouts. Lisa's always predicting the blowouts. I always hope that Lisa is
I'm with
right.
You this week.
For sure.
I'm with you.
For sure. Sam is he's kind of in my boat a little bit. Sam says 34-14 Ravens. That's a little bit more reasonable. I'm gonna go, like I said, 36-14 Ravens. I think I said, or no, 34-16 Ravens is what I think I said. Yeah. And Goman says here we're gonna blow out every team from here on out. Hopefully, we gotta take it one game at a time.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. So we've talked about the Ravens versus Browns upcoming matchup this Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time at the bank. Our guy Alex will be there putting the 14-0 streak on the line. Hopefully we can make it 15-0. And man, I mean, again, man, we might have to start raising some money to get you to all the playoff games, even Super Bowl, man.
Hey,
Because if that's the voodoo magic that we
hey,
got, hey, just saying,
me,
just
me,
saying.
me, me, and our boy Ma Roosh will be there too. He's going with me. We're going together. We're 2-0 at games together.
Ooh,
So like we can just keep on talking
okay.
about it. Went the Lions game last year, Bengals game this year. So we're like maybe we can go 3-0. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. That Lions game last year, in hindsight, it's like, how important of a W was that for this Ravens team? Just, kind of looking at what the Lions have done the past couple of seasons, like it really just goes to show how most teams, 97% of NFC teams, cannot hold a candle to the Baltimore Ravens, man. They're just not as physical. We've got the weapons to match now. Um, yeah, I know you like the Lions and Jared Goff, not and Dan Campbell. It's all great. Yeah.
I don't like them as much. I mean, I want them to win the NFC, but I don't think they do. And that's just that defense. It's just way too hard for me. And I'll find out a lot this week about the Vikings, I think, because I'm still not sold on the Vikings. I don't know why, but if they win this week and show me something, I'll be on that hype train. But just that defense, like they're gonna have to get in shootouts every game. And unfortunately, if your offense isn't carrying, we've seen in the playoffs, we'd had times where our defense, was giving up points and we just couldn't keep up. Titans game, and if the offense couldn't keep up and you're getting shut down, it's over. So I like the Rams too. The Rams to me are like the team I don't want to see in the playoffs on the NFC. Like you go in like Stafford, Kyron, Cup, Puka, that's a scary offense. And when Stafford gets going, Stafford gets freaking going.
It is a scary offense, and it's looking like there's a good chance that they might play the hometown Washington Commanders in that game, in that wild card game. So that's going to be such a fun matchup and such a great test for Jaden Daniels. Because there's been a lot of talk about Jaden Daniels being offensive rookie of the year. Some people, he's even he's got odds for MVP. He's like top 7 or something like that. He's got some odds up there for MVP.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a very, very interesting matchup. See how Sean McVay game plans for that rookie quarterback and how Cliff Kingsbury plans to kind of usher in Jaden Daniels into the playoffs. Because as we know, as Ravens fans, and a lot of people like to call Jaden Daniels like baby Lamar, things like that. How much more pressure it is in these playoff games and how much more condensed the game gets, right? Especially as, a mobile quarterback, they kind of force you to do what you don't excel at the most. Now, the thing about Jaden Daniels is I think that in Jaden Daniels as a rookie is a little bit more polished as a passer than Lamar Jackson was as a rookie. I think that's kind of fair to say, right? He makes a lot of the throws around the field. He's got some nice touch on the ball, things like that. Of course, he still misses his throws. He's a rookie, but it's going to be very, very interesting to see how the Rams game plan for that. And then also, again, like you said, how the Commanders are able to game plan for all those weapons that the Rams have, because Puka and Kupp are just, man. And then on that defense, right, I'm looking at Jared Verse, defensive rookie of the year, right? That kid is an absolute stud, a baller. I know he's going to be flying all over the field. So it's going to be literally a war of attrition, that game is, and I cannot wait to watch it. I can't. So,
yeah.
All right.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into our second topic of the night. I think we covered the Ravens and Browns at length here. Let's get to the main stuff, right? The meat and potatoes of this episode is going to be about the Ravens Pro Bowlers, right? So the Ravens, it was just announced today, and I did not even know that this was supposed to be announced today, right? The Ravens have 9 Pro Bowlers, guys. 9 of them. And it's just kind of crazy to think about that, like, we are the league leader in Pro Bowl appearances this season. And I'm going to go ahead and bring it up on screen here. All 9 Pro Bowlers. It's crazy. And I'll just go through them really quick. Derrick Henry made it. Lamar Jackson made it. Roquan Smith as well. Tyler Linderbaum. Nnamdi Madubuike. Let me see who I got here. Pat Ricard made it. Man, it's just, you got Marlon Humphrey. You got Zay Flowers, and you got Kyle Hamilton, man. So shout out to all 9 of those guys making the Pro Bowl, man. They definitely do deserve it. And of course, we're gonna get into some of the alternates and whatnot in a minute. I think it was Justin Tucker, Mark Andrews, and then one Daniel FAALELE. Man, we're gonna get into that in just a second. But looking at the 9 Pro Bowlers who did make it to be starters in this game, kind of like what do you think when you see this many Pro Bowlers on this team? What do you think it says about the Ravens?
Number one, it says how, I do get mad at him sometimes, but EBC and that scout team, a lot of homegrown guys in there, a lot of them. But it also kind of just is, think about what we lost last year, and now back to this. Like we're consistently, building talent and developing talent. Now it's just holding on to it. And 2 guys on there who I'm looking at. To me, obviously, I want to sign some new players in the offseason. I don't want to think too far ahead. But if you're able to lock down Linderbaum and Hamilton this offseason, that's an A to me already. That's like priority number 1. But Zay Flowers is standing out to me. Finally. 29 years it took. I've watched receivers. Julio Scott, Jordan Lasley, Demetrius Williams, Iman Figures, guys like that.
Yeah.
To now having a bona fide Pro Bowler in Zay Flowers. And as a Ravens fan, I don't think he should have made it, personally. I'm happy he did. Thought maybe Brian Thomas Jr. got snubbed.
Brian Thomas Jr., 10 touchdowns, yeah.
Yeah, personally. But this is good to see. Sam says here we had 13 Pro Bowlers in 2019. Doesn't mean anything. Yeah, big time popularity contests, because how Mark Andrews didn't make it. I mean, with all the Travis Kelce. Listen, we know why he made it, but I'm happy some of those guys got their recognition and that extra bonus, which is cool for some of those guys. So happy to them, happy for them. But we will not be there in Florida. We will be in New Orleans with bigger things to do. And yeah, EDC could have drafted Quentin Johnson. He didn't. He went with smaller built guy and the better pick overall.
Yeah. I mean, and yeah, like you said, that does stand out the most. The fact that Zay Flowers is the first Raven wide receiver in franchise history to make a Pro Bowl. It's when I saw that earlier, I mean, I looked at it and I was like, wait a minute, really? And I thought about it and I was like, oh, well, yeah. I mean, we haven't had anybody. That's the thing. We're just not. That's never really been part of our identity, right? To draft, a wide receiver and really develop him into a real star, So I don't know. There's some car horn going on. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but Zay Flowers, I definitely think that he's made strides this year. Of course, 1,000-yard season, his first one of his career. But again, man, Brian Thomas Jr., I think he definitely deserves it. 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. I mean, that guy, and especially being on the Jags too, you got to tip your cap to a guy like that. And rookie, like, it's just, you got to tip your cap. But congratulations to Zay Flowers. Like you said, this does seem more like a big popularity contest. I mean, you got guys like Pat Ricard in there who, Pat Ricard, he makes a very silent impact on this Ravens team. And I know that only a third of the voting comes from the fans, and the other one comes from the coaches, executives, I think, things like that. So maybe the other coaches around the league are kind of looking at a guy like Pat Ricard and seeing how well he impacts the run game. And they're saying, okay, that might be why, he deserves to make it into the Pro Bowl, because you don't really see a whole lot of fullbacks making noise in this league, period. Fullbacks is kind of like a dying position, to be quite honest with you. It's a dying position. The last head coach to really, really value fullbacks outside of, John Harbaugh and the Ravens coaching staff was Bill Belichick. Outside of that, guys, I mean, those guys aren't really around too much anymore. So, shout out to these guys. Kyle Hamilton, definitely think he deserved to make his second one. Derrick Henry had pretty much no reaction to him making the Pro Bowl. I mean, I think this is his 5th Pro Bowl. I think he's got the most out of anybody on the team right now. So shout out to him. But yeah, man, I also think that this is going to negatively impact Lamar Jackson's MVP chances. I definitely do think that it just is what it is. But it's again, like I was saying before we started the show, it's just going to be another talking point, right? It's going to be another talking point. And at this point, you've mentioned it a bunch in the past couple of episodes. This MVP race this year feels more political and like a presidential race election than any other one that I can remember in recent history. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I mean, what are your thoughts on Lamar Jackson and the whole MVP campaign with this new information that we have? Oh, Lamar Jackson's got all this help now, and Josh Allen, he
Right.
only had one other player on his team make the Pro Bowl on top of himself.
Yeah.
What do you think about all that? What do you make of it?
Film doesn't lie. And if I see a lot of people brought up in the chat, if you want to bring them all up, it started off with Cam. Cam said number 77 as an alternate is incredibly laughable. Don Royale, FAALELE laughing. Goldman 77. We have Sam saying Eddie Jackson robbed. KP conspiracy, they gave us a bunch of Pro Bowlers say Lamar has way more help than anybody. FAALELE as an alternate. I'm being 1,000,000% honest. Try to trade him in the offseason, no matter what happens. Like, if you can somehow get some type of value for this just because an alternate, I'm all for it. I'm like, if we want to use this as an actual stat, go ahead. That it happens. But if you're watching Ravens,
that's a good point.
Number 77 is getting cooked nonstop, at least once or twice a game. It's just like Lamar changed this man's life. Lamar, he really did. So if they're going to use this against him, I mean, go for it. But if you're talking about offensive lines, the Bills do have a better line than us. I like Stanley, Rosengarten, Linderbaum, but I think as a collective unit, the Bills do have a better line than us. But whatever, they don't get it, don't care. It's just it's whatever. It's Tyler Huntley made a Pro Bowl. I'm happy these guys get their bonuses, but everybody in that video I saw, they are on to bigger things. They could care less about being in Florida. We want to be in New Orleans.
Yeah, absolutely. And just kind of touching back on the MVP talk really quick. I think that Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and a lot of those other guys, even Zay Flowers, he was talking to EDC about it this morning when they recorded that whole little video of him reacting to him making the Pro Bowl. They said we got bigger fish to fry, basically, in so many words, right? Like it's great that we have all of this recognition for the talent on our team, but we've got a much bigger goal ahead of us. And it's funny because I was on X earlier today, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and I saw the pregame video of Lamar Jackson running out of the tunnel in M&T Bank Stadium for the AFC Championship game. Tony Romo, Jim Nantz on the call, of course, and it gave me chills, man. It gave me chills, like to get that close, to think that we were that close. I didn't even realize it in the moment, like the day of that game. I didn't realize how close we were to glory all over again. You know what I mean? And I know that a lot of us remember that 2012 Super Bowl. Some of us even remember the 2000 Super Bowl. It's just that's it right there. When it's all said and done, the Pro Bowls are important, right? But you've got guys who've got 8, 10, 11 Pro Bowl appearances. So it doesn't really mean as much if you never win the big one. And I think our guys know that, and our championship window is open right now, right? But next year is going to be the last year that we're going to have Lamar Jackson on this kind of sort of friendlier cap deal until his cap is going to balloon a little bit more with his contract. And then like you mentioned earlier, Kyle Hamilton has to get signed. Tyler Linderbaum has to get signed. Those are two pivotal pieces on both sides of the football right there. And, the money's going to get really tight. So I think that it's now or never. It's really now or never for this Ravens team. Now, you bring up a very, very fascinating point, and I didn't even see it like this. And I'm so glad that you brought this up. With Daniel FAALELE being an alternate for the Pro Bowl, that kind of increases his stock. It increases his stock. And if we were to try to go out and get something for him this offseason, I would be all for it. I'd be all for it. But speaking of Daniel FAALELE, I do want to bring up a clip from John Harbaugh here, what he said about the FAALELE selection to the Pro Bowl, because it kind of, I just want to get your take on it because we haven't talked about this yet, but I want to get your take on it. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear it, Alex.
Oh, great for him. He had to take a lot of some standing around this very circle right here. When are you going to replace Daniel FAALELE? And we didn't bite. And I think it paid off. So, but his best football. This is not this is just the beginning for Daniel. And I expect him to go play his best game on Saturday night. So, but I think it's also a confidence boost for him. That he gets to see that. He doesn't just have to read that, what people think he's not. He gets a chance to realize that players and coaches around the league, what they think he is, and proven by when they vote for you to be in the Pro Bowl. So, heck yeah, for Daniel, it's a great. I'm really happy for him and excited for him. But I'm more excited for the player he's going to become. I feel great for him. He had to take a lot of criticism.
Yeah. So you heard it there first. I mean, John Harbaugh talking about how proud he is of his decision, right, to keep Daniel Falele starting at right guard all season long, pretty much, and that to me, he's like, oh yeah, it's basically like big I told you so from John Harbaugh. Like, I told you so that this guy was legit, right? But it's like, okay, Harbs, just because, a couple of fans, because I know it couldn't have been a whole lot of fans, right? I don't know who was really putting his name in the ballot box for Pro Bowl alternate even, but I'd be very interested to know who and why they would do that, because this guy has been literally the epitome of inconsistent all season long, and his misses have been very, very bad. So for Harbaugh to kind of treat this like a victory lap for his decision to keep Daniel Falele starting is just very, very disingenuous to me. And if he does not perform well in the playoffs, I think that this puts a lot more pressure on Daniel Falele. There was a lot of people saying, oh, this might give him more confidence. This might give him more confidence. No, I think it puts more pressure on him. To be honest with you, you got your coach up there saying like, oh, no, his football is ahead of him. And I truly do hope so. As a Ravens fan, I truly do hope so. But guess what? I've been hoping all season long. And I really have seen the consistency that I would like to see from Daniel Falele at that right guard position, especially considering like who are we used to seeing playing right guard for the Ravens? Let's just talk about the past couple of starters, right? You got guys like Kevin Zeitler, who was a dog for us. Marshall Yonda, crazy. I mean, so to go from that to this type of performance in Falele, it's like, okay, Harbs, I know you want to be right all the time. You want to be that coach. You can be able to say, I told you so, take your victory laps. That's cool. But this doesn't really seem, it doesn't really, like I said, it seems a little bit disingenuous to me, but I want to get your take on it.
No, I'm right there with you because I don't want us to be playing this clip early February, late January when Chris Jones just ate our offensive line alive, number 77, the being that. I'm worried for him against Chris Jones if that day were to come, or even against the Bills D line because their D line isn't it's a good D line pass rush wise. So like it's just been when you look at when plays break down, it's mainly him. It's number 77 turning around looking for somebody to block because he misses assignment. I'm not an offensive line guru. I'm not claiming to be one. But when I'm there, I'm usually up getting the all 22 view, and I'm seeing number 77 just kind of confused most of the time. And this is kind of where my gripes with Harbaugh begin. Like, I'm getting off him because the way the team's been playing is right, and I've kind of understood that he's a good coach. I'm not gonna say he's not a good coach. And watching Hard Knocks, I've learned a little bit more about him, and I'm understanding the coach he is. With that being said, though, doing victory laps over a below average starter, which Daniel Falele is, in my opinion, it's just not smart at all. The better player is on the line. That's talking to multiple people, me and you both, who know a lot more ball than us. I think it's a fair point to say, film guys. It's just like when push comes to shove, and we're now in a high leverage game on a draft, we have to score. If there's someone in the backfield, I guarantee you it's on number 77. And it's just he is a below average. He should be a bench player in this league. And I hate to say it, nice guy, I'm guessing, but for him to say this and do victory laps, it's not the smartest thing to do. If you're gonna sit here and say, like he's, I'm not gonna say too much about it. And KB, Chris Jones, like I'm worried about that. I'm worried about Chris Jones going against him and him getting eaten alive.
Yeah, I mean, because I think that this really brings a lot of attention. Again, like I said, pressure, more attention to a guy like Daniel Falele, because I can guarantee you, guys like Chris Jones are taking note of that, right? Guys like Steve Spagnuolo are taking note of that. Okay, we're gonna go attack this guy. We're gonna attack this guy. Even even the Bills defensive coordinators, the Chargers, the Texas Steelers, whoever we play first, right? 77 times out of 100, and this is no pun intended, if there is pressure on Lamar Jackson, it's probably coming from that interior right side of the line. So with that being said, man, I hope he performs well in the playoffs. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope this doesn't put as much pressure as it does instill confidence in him and for him to be able to step up and play well, because he's had some good plays this season. He's a mammoth of a man. He's a huge guy, but sometimes his feet are just too slow to get to where he needs to be on time, and he just completely misses, right? And in an offense that's as fast-paced and twitchy and as electric as the Lamar Jackson led Ravens are, you got to be on point, man. You can't just be big. You can't just be big because you will be eaten alive, right? If you can't keep up.
Yeah. The last very, very good defensive line we played was the last game we lost. I'm not going to put the blame just on him, but he was getting eaten alive by guys like Jalen Carter. You know, that Eagles defensive line had their way with our offensive line. And that's my worry when it comes in the playoffs. So that would, like, we put up 20. I mean, we put up 12 points. I mean, we garbage time touchdown. When push came to shove, we played a real contender with a real good defensive line. Guys like him folded. And until I see that change, I'm not going to trust you, unfortunately, to say it. So you got to show me that you're getting better, and that, I hate to say it starts next week or even in the future, but you got to show me now. Hopefully you play out of our price range to even pay you. Hopefully you're like a Ben Powers who just balls out and we can't afford you. I hope that's the truth. And he has a great career elsewhere. But as of right now, I haven't seen anything that makes me have any faith in him.
Yeah, same here. But yeah, that is the Pro Bowl talk. Of course, we said Daniel FAALELE is an alternate starter, as well as Justin Tucker, and Mark Andrews as well, who got, of course, he didn't get the nod over Travis Kelce. But those guys will be waiting in the wings in case their name is called. But what did you have something for that?
Kelce can enjoy Orlando when that time comes. He can enjoy it with all the popularity he wants. Because our guy came back from a season-ending injury, severe injury, car accident, and is still outperforming him. I'm going to leave it at that.
Facts. Yeah, make sure you drop your questions down below in the comment and chat section. Drop your questions down below.
Yes.
Now is the time for that. If you're watching on X right now, if you're watching on YouTube right now, make sure you drop your comments down below. We want to bring those up on screen and answer those. Okay, and Roosh agrees with you here. Says Harb is trying to get a nice comp pick for FAALELE. I don't know if this is a falafel. That is hilarious. That is awesome.
New slander name just dropped for Daniel.
Oh my gosh, man! Again, I hope we're so wrong. I hope we're wrong.
I wouldn't be wrong, but it's just
because
we
stuff
need
like
this.
Yeah,
I mean, John Simpson got 8 in that championship game last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just I see it happening again with Daniel FAALELE.
KP in the house says, do y'all think this is really the year, or is this team going to troll again? Well, my guy Alex said that this year feels different. He said that about a week ago, and I don't know if he still feels the same way, but how are you feeling? I'll toss it to you.
I don't want to say that we're going to go. I'm taking it one game at a time. With that being said, though, this team has faced a lot more adversity than playoff teams prior. I think 2020 faced a lot, but unfortunately, we know how that went down. Lamar went down in that game. Who knows? But I'm looking at the coaching, and I'm hoping they learn from their mistakes. I'm hoping something you brought up months ago, like signing Derrick Henry, kind of force you to keep the foot on their throat. You can't abandon that run, but we've seen us abandon that run in big games this year. So I feel like we've learned a little bit, but I hate going back to the Eagles game. Even when it was, a closer game, they still were using Saquon. They were using him in multiple different ways, and eventually he broke a long touchdown run, which secured the game. Sam here says, run the damn ball. Yeah, if we go down 7-0 or 10-0, stop forcing throws. There's time left to keep on running the ball. But I will tell you this: if we get into a game and we see a little bit of adjusting and not shitting our pants, and maybe Harbaugh learns in the playoffs. But for that being said, I feel confident in this team, and I feel like there's a good chance. I'm not gonna but one game at a time. Just leave it at that. One game at a time. But I do like our chances.
Yeah, I do too. When it comes to this message for the playoffs, the damn ball that Sam brings up here, I do think that we have to take a look at Lamar Jackson, right? Because as much as he is an MVP level talent, as much as I like to call him, he is a Madden player personified, right? He always wants the big play, no matter what. He's looking for it. I just know, after watching Lamar Jackson for 7 years play football in the National Football League, right? he is always going to be looking for the big down the field play. And you could see that in the last AFC Championship game as well. Went deep on a lot of different occasions, right? Didn't hook up on a bunch of them, but that first one is Zay Flowers, I really think got in his head like, okay, I'm going to keep my foot on the gas. I'm going to push the ball down the field any means necessary. I hope that he just takes what the defense gives him in the playoffs. Take what the defense gives you. I think that's the next evolution of Lamar. And we've been seeing that a lot from him this year, especially down the stretch of this season. So if he can take that same kind of mindset into the playoffs and not get spooked, along with our coaching staff, don't get spooked if we go down a possession, maybe two, to one of these high-powered AFC teams, still play your game. Play your game. I mean, it's 4 quarters of football, and that's what championship teams do. They play their game, right? So they don't allow you to dictate how you want to play that day. They don't allow that. So that's kind of the next evolution of this team. I think that's the next evolution of Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. I hope he's not checking out of runs unnecessarily, things like that, right?
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a huge part of it. Let me see. So what else? What other questions we have here?
Yeah, I want to add on to that. I
ahead.
think him having Henry and what we've seen Henry do in the passing game, those dump offs, I think it only hasn't worked once this year, and that was the time Cooper DeJean got the best or better of him. Cool. But outside that, Henry's been taking them for a first down minimum, if not 15, 20 yards. I think we could see some of that in a playoff game. Get us a nice first down on a 3rd and 5. Derrick Henry's in. They might sell out the run like a 3rd and 5. They think, okay, we might run it. Derrick Henry's open in the flat, first down. But one thing I will say is I feel like we're saving this play for the playoffs. A Derrick Henry pass. I don't know why. We haven't seen it yet. And he is, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's in the back pocket somewhere. And the fact we haven't shown it at all yet is kind of, it's got me thinking. Maybe it's in there somewhere. What does Todd Monken have up the sleeve?
Ooh, that's interesting because what's funny? I was actually thinking about this. I think yesterday I was just randomly thinking about the Ravens, and I was like, you know what? We haven't seen a Derrick Henry pass yet, but if he does pass it, I mean, a part of me could see a Derrick Henry passing touchdown to Lamar Jackson in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
That would blow my mind. That will, or to a tight end.
Likely, I think.
Yeah, I would take it either way, but I could totally see it. I'm just saying I could totally see it. That's something that I feel like Todd Monken has in the back pocket, and we just have not pulled it out yet. So hopefully we will. I know we're going to see something crazy in the playoffs. I know we have not pulled out all the stops just yet. So yeah. Let me see what else we're saying here.
If you're at the 2-yard line with Henry in a wildcat or in a formation where he's the lone back guy in the backfield, or he's playing the quarterback position, you're thinking it's a run, and it hasn't worked. It didn't work against the Raiders, I think, or one of those games.
Right.
The fact you now throw, you're expecting that run, you're going to sell out for the run. I definitely think he can act like he's running it, jump, which we've seen happen against us. He did it against the Packers a couple years ago on Thursday Night Football. I think they're saving it somewhere. Small.
Gotta be, right?
Small field.
Gotta be, right? It'd be hard to get it to Lamar Jackson to do some sort of like Philly special. Ooh, he reports is eligible.
Remember that picture you shared of him like catching a ball in training camp?
Yeah. Hey, it could happen. I mean, dare I say Daniel FAALELE catches a touchdown pass in the playoffs? Can you imagine?
If that would be the... Somebody's getting gifted a Daniel FAALELE jersey on the street.
For sure. For sure. Oh my gosh, man. As we have 77 people watching live right now. That's crazy. It might just happen. You cannot make this stuff up, guys. You can't. All right, let's move along here. KP says, would y'all see it as a successful season to make it to the Super Bowl and lose, or only if we win it all? For me, we got to win it all. We got to win it all.
Yeah.
It's not enough to make it to the Super Bowl and drop that one. It's too much of a baby step from where we were last year, to me. And I think we need to make big strides. We're not in a position to make, baby steps forward each and every year because we don't have that type of time. Again, the championship window is closing and closing rapidly. So if you get to a Super Bowl this year and you lose it, do you know how hard, how good, how tight your team has to be in order to make it back to another Super Bowl. I mean, first of all, just how deflating it would be. I think Bill Samuel said it earlier today. Like, you lose a Super Bowl, man, you are down in the dumps for months, right? You don't want to talk to people. You don't want to be seen. And I can understand that, right? Because it's just such a huge emotional dump, right? So I don't know. We got to win that one. We would have to win if we make it to the Super Bowl, especially considering it's against an NFC team. You know what we do against NFC teams. If it's the Eagles, we're going to want to get back. If it's anybody else, the Lions, I don't care who it is, the Vikings, I don't care who it is, Packers, I don't care. Win the damn game. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
simple as that. I think it's Super Bowl or bust this year.
I'm right there with you. Yep, 100%. Super Bowl or bust.
Yeah.
Just with this talent. Yeah. We said it last year.
Yeah.
We were cool getting the AFC Championship, but now it's we've been there. Go to the next step. Go win it. Get the game and win it. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah. So, then also, let's go ahead and wrap it with this one here. Steve-O mentioning Tandra says, imagine Henry and Mitchell in the split back. Just talking about Keaton Mitchell really quick. You know, he had a nice, cool 30-yard run against the Texans. I think that was really is going to bode well for his confidence moving forward, especially considering he hadn't really gotten off any, big plays before that ever since he's been back from his I word. How much would you like to see Keaton Mitchell incorporated in this offense down the stretch of the playoffs?
I want him to take majority of the snap second half, assuming we're up, ramp him up. Last game, it's kind of his first game back. He was getting a good amount because Rasheen Ali went out. Now it's like, okay, let him break off some runs. Let's see what he can do when they're not expecting. When he was in, what he was mainly going to do, take it at the outside. Now, if you sprinkle him in, maybe a screen, or maybe catches a dump off. But I want to see him used more in just not as like a gadget guy but just a change of speed guy. Like 2nd and 5, he's in. Well, he can run it or he can catch out the backfield. So I do want to see him more this week over Rasheen Ali, with all due respect. I just want to see Keaton Mitchell. I think he can be a big X factor in these playoff games and a guy that can break off like a Ray Rice run. I'm not saying he is Ray Rice, but he has that speed and capability to break off a run just like that. Can change a game.
Yeah. Yeah. And, like Steve-O says here, imagine Henry and Mitchell in the split back. I mean, if you've got two running backs on the field, I still also assume we're going to have, of course, Mark Andrews, maybe even Isaiah Likely on the field. And that's 22 personnel right there, 2 backs, 2 tight ends. And as we all know, Kalar as well. And as we all know, the higher the number in the personnel goes, the more likely it is a run on that play. So maybe we have Henry and Mitchell back there on, like you said, maybe like a 2nd and 5 or something. And Todd Monken can get, he can get as creative as he wants to, right? You can do whatever you want to from there. So it's really going to be interesting to see how Todd Monken designs these play calls and these schemes for these playoff teams, man. It's just because we've got all the weapons. Again, we've got weapons on the outside. That's proven. We've got Zay Flowers, Pro Bowler, Rashad Bateman having the best season of his life right now. Lamar Jackson having the best season of his life passing the football. We've got the best running back that Lamar Jackson has ever had. Best tight ends, offensive line is good in spots, and other spots it's okay. It's decent. It's shaky, but there's no excuse. There's no excuse. Yeah. I say all that to say there's no excuse for our offense. And largely our offense has been performing pretty much all season long. The defense started out slow. Now the defense has finally come around. It's been a top 5 defense in the past month or so. So got to tip your cap to Zach Orr and company there. But yeah, again, I will just end it with this, man. If the Ravens do not win a Super Bowl this year, not if they just make it, but if they do not win the Super Bowl this year, I think it's a failure of a season, because it's just, in whatever fashion that we might end up dropping a game in the playoffs and, of course, ending our season, it's going to be an unacceptable fashion, and it's going to be on us, right? Yep. It's going to be on us. So there it is. Any final words, Alex?
Yeah, I want to put this into context too. If our defense was still playing, it was the first half of the season, poor, and we're squeezing it as a wild card, I'm like, okay, let's win a couple of games. But the fact they've turned it around, the fact this offense is playing the way it's playing, that's why I say Super Bowl or bust. You know what I mean? If the defense wasn't playing good, I could have understood that. But now it's like we're firing on all cylinders. We're confident. Yeah. We've got Zach Orr jumping on our Darius Washington. We've fixed our back-end issues. Now that's why I'm offering Super Bowl or bust. So, yeah, Sam says here you have to take advantage of our windows. You don't come much. Yeah, we've been saying that, but we're still in it. I didn't think we were going to be kind of the position we are this year, especially the first way we started. But yeah, not every team's like the Chiefs getting the 1 seeds like they are. We've gotten the 1 seed twice, but they're always in it. So let's just keep winning games in the playoffs, 1 game at a time. So enjoy this Saturday game before we go. Enjoy it. Last game with not a lot of there's meaning, but nowhere near as much meaning compared to the week after. So relax, enjoy it.
Yes.
Because after this, like I said, man, nerves will be at an all-time high.
Yeah, man. It's gonna be do or die, literally, after this sink or swim. Coming up here soon. The playoffs are right around the corner. And again, like I mentioned on the last episode of the show, also kind of zooming out a little bit from just the Ravens stuff, like football is coming to an end, right? Like we are very, very close. Next month, football will be gone again for another, 6-7 months, something like that. And, gotta appreciate it while it's here. But we're going to leave it there for this episode of the Purple Rain Podcast, episode 289. This has been, thank y'all so much for coming through to this episode. As always, man, my name is Sutton Def. You can follow me on X or Instagram at Sutton Def, like you see down below right there. My co-host over here, X at SimplyAS10, on Instagram at simplyas10.prod. You guys know where to find this guy. SimplyAS10 pretty much everywhere. Google, TikTok, all that, man. Make sure you check him out. But listen, also our sponsor, Manscaped, he led the episode with Manscaped. And go on there, get whatever you want. PRP, y'all know the drill. 20% off plus free international shipping as always, man. And yeah, you can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast as well. So with that being said, I'm going to let my guy Alex take us out.
Thank you for coming through episode 289 of the Purple Rain Podcast. Love you. We appreciate you. Next time we talk to you, we will be Kings of the AFC North getting ready for a home playoff game. Stay positive. Test negative.
Yes. And never, ever forget, even on the rainy days, to call God. It's been episode 289 of PRP. We're going to catch you guys in the next.